The birthplace of the Bohemian Revolution from Cowick 591 Studios. This is the Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network with producer Blake Tempus. And back from the road is co-host Dale Rueber. I'm Jim Gillespie, and this is the Jesup News for April 8th, 2024.
I just had to tell people.
Go ahead.
The last time I was on, we were at the bar, and you were doing your introductory remarks, and I was staring off that way the whole time. Well, there was a TV over there with a ball game on it, so that's why I wasn't just ignoring Jim, but it was very tempting. So anyway, that's my excuse. So I apologize for that. I didn't look even interested, so I have to apologize for that. So.
I heard a lot of good comments about our interview with Nick Thomas. I heard that we could have asked JR some easier questions about bartending.
Well, I don't know. Those are not too bad. But I do think, though, like the show we had with the Langs and the show we had with Nick, I really enjoyed those. Listening to them later on with my wife, and they weren't too long.
Right.
And there was a lot of laughter back and forth, and I thought information coming out. And son told me maybe I shouldn't have criticized spatter paint technique. I said, why didn't you criticize? Well, yeah, you get a guy on that does that kind of work and you tell him you hate that kind of work. That wasn't what I said. So I had to, I didn't mean anything bad by it. It's just I like horses or something. I don't know, something that, you think about the Last Supper, how much work it would have been to get, and then you think about, was it Pollock, where it just looks like he painted on the wall.
Right.
Think that there's a whole lot of difference between art and that kind of art and the kind of art. But I would like to see some work this kid had done. I have not looked at it.
Oh, you haven't seen it?
No, I haven't. So I'd like to do that. So
he had a bunch stolen out of a storage shed actually when he was home.
In California.
In Independence.
Oh, it was out of Independence.
Yeah.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah.
That's too.
He is giving laces in the Steve Brown Arts Center. He's given us 30 pieces.
Yeah, I heard you say that on your last week. Yeah, I guess that's when you said too that he had lost some, but I didn't realize it was out of Independence. So well, that's too bad. So somebody must think it's pretty darn good art, huh? Because usually they just steal things like the Mona Lisa or whatever. So.
You can't hide that stuff. It's 4x5. I mean, you sell it. It's like trying to sell a Warhol or something. I mean, people are going to know it.
Well, sure. And so we'll have to go out and see if your garage has a new interior now. So.
All right. Well, click, follow, and rate as we.
I didn't get to finish though about those two shows, and then to have the Langs play those Alp horns at the end. I mean, that was pretty neat. And no podcaster had Alp horns on that week except us.
That's right.
It was just, and they were really very good.
You got to wonder if they've ever been a live podcast done with elk horns.
Well, yeah. Every time you always sound to me like you say elk horns. It's Alp horns. But I just thought, because when they first started, okay, what can you do with those? But it was beautiful. The song they did was very, very good. So I thought those are two really good shows, and that maybe I need to stay away from politics and that kind of stuff and just do more center on that, because you talked about that last week too.
Right.
About we need to center more on the art and the artist and this sort of thing. And I think you're absolutely right.
You think so? See, I had a long conversation with one of our true fans out there, people a person that listens regularly, and he talked about going back to more Jesup news. Because he likes to hear the Jesup news. So that it is it's 6 of one, half a dozen the other. I was going to ask you this, Dale, and here's a question for you. Are we, as podcasters, and Blake, maybe you want to answer this question too, because you would be included in this. Are we journalists?
I don't think I'm a journalist. You come and you've got things typed out, and you have a guest. If we have a guest, you lined up the guest, you have the questions typed out, and I just show up and I just comment and talk and ask questions, and I don't think that's real journalism. I think it's more like just visiting with someone you've just met,
right,
and trying to find out about them and find some common interests and learn something from them that you don't know because they're in a certain area, And so I don't feel like I'm really trying to squeeze news out of them or anything like that. It's just like talking with you. Just like sitting and talking, which is why I enjoy doing it, is because it's just, just having a conversation about something, and it's usually something a little different every week, and so that's why I enjoy doing it.
What do you think, Blake? Do you think we are journalists? Or?
Kind of a mix of Dale's. I would say if we had to give a title of journalist to someone, it would more than likely be you. Like Dale says, a lot of it's just sitting down and getting to know someone you know. So I think the most apt way to describe it would be people who like having good conversation and putting it online.
Mm-hmm.
There was you could enter podcasts up for awards that somehow it came up on my Facebook that I could enter podcasts up for awards. And I don't know what genre does our podcast fit.
Yeah.
Blake, what do you think? Where would it fit? Would it fit news? Would it fit sports? Would it fit art? Where would it fit?
I think the main idea is the art, and we've had musicians and guitar makers. What else? Band people, horn players, this sort of thing. Painters of all kind,
right.
And I think we're here to promote some kind of art in this area, hoping to get even more of it started with the Steve Brown Art Center. Is what we're looking for, is to have more art available and taught and talked about. So I would say that's our main concern, I believe.
So you would call it art?
I think so, yeah. I don't know, like information about art or...
art information.
Yeah, trying to figure out what the people do and how do they do it and how they get started,
right.
And how do they promote it and this sort of thing. And so...
Sort of there's a art magazine, an art podcast called Just, and I'm not saying it right, it's JUSTAPON. And they put out art news and they interview artists and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So Blake, what genre would you call it? Art?
I'd say art. That's probably the most apt description. That's what we do a little more than that.
Okay.
That's what got us here.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, here's another question then for you, Dale. Who is qualified to be a politician?
Well, it's someone who is of a certain age. Like for president, you have to be, is it 32 or 36? And in Congress, you have to be like 28 or something, I believe. I'm not sure the numbers. And then for school board, city council, you have 18. You have to be an adult. Usually you have to be a citizen.
Of the country?
Of the country or the area, like if you live in Jesup and run for the Waterloo School Board.
Right.
So you have to have an interest in a certain area. Other than that, and if you, I don't know, if you have a felony conviction, if that outlaws you, I don't think it does even.
Well, they changed that now a few years ago, and I'm proud to say this because they've changed their lives a lot, but I know a number of felons, former felons. One of them was saying that you have to go 5 or 7 years before you can vote.
Talking about just in Iowa now.
In Iowa,
yeah, because Iowa has changed their law.
Yeah.
About voting and so. But yeah, I think other than that, if you can convince people to vote for you.
So are you qualified to be a politician, Dale?
Myself, legally and ethically and morally, I guess I am, because I meet all the requirements for I don't know what office you're talking about, but I do meet the requirements probably for almost any office.
City council, state legislator.
Yeah. Governor, mayor, president,
yep.
senator. So many crazy people to sign that petition.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, let's.
Why are you asking the question?
Well, because tonight we're talking a little bit about Bobby Kennedy.
Ah, okay. Bobby
Kennedy Jr.
Okay.
Yes,
all right.
Robert Kennedy Jr.
Okay.
Bobby Kennedy Jr., for those of you that don't know, is running on an independent ticket for president. He is pushing right now. If you go to his website, he's looking for volunteers, all the states in the union's ballot. And he just got on South Carolina and Nevada, I think, this last week. Like in South Carolina, you need 1 million signatures. He went out, and a number of those states, before you can get on the ballot, who your vice president, or who's running with you for vice president.
Yeah.
And he named last week a lady named Nicole Shanahan. She's from California. She's a well-to-do lawyer and philanthropist out there.
But he is from California also, right?
Bobby is.
Yeah. Did you? That's a problem.
In what way?
In that you cannot, the president and vice president cannot be from the same state.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, I didn't read that.
Okay, yeah, that was. There are ways, of course, of getting around it, but it's
Yes.
very, very difficult. According to the rules, they cannot be from the same state.
What rule? What rules? What
Would be
laws?
the federal election laws, I believe.
Federal
And it
election
may
laws.
even be in the Constitution.
I'd have to see that.
Yeah, it may be in the Constitution. See,
Okay.
I didn't. It's a while ago since I read that, and yeah, that is a problem because they talked about this lady. I don't remember her name, but that she was from the same state, so that was a problem for them. So,
Nicole Shanahan.
Yeah.
Her ex-husband's name was Sergey Brin. Sergey Brin. Do you know what he's famous for?
Sergey, no, I really don't.
Sergey Brin was one of the co-founders of Google. They got a ton of money. That's one of the reasons that Bobby went after.
Well, sure.
Because she can pay for a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Where they don't have the income the Democrats do.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, the Republican Party doesn't have a lot.
Yeah,
of
they're
money.
hurting for money.
Yeah.
They're selling Bibles
Yeah.
and tennis shoes. So,
But anyhow, Bobby Kennedy, some of his platforms are he wants to shift ag change some of the subsidies that farmers get now
okay.
to a different, and I couldn't. Obviously, he's going to have to. He's going to battle in states like Iowa and Illinois and Missouri and there. He wants to give industry incentives for a clean environment so that they don't fight the clean environment laws. Also wants to transform police rather than defund them. So he wants to put them in tough neighborhoods where they would be there, more or less make friends.
Sure.
And sort of like go to the doctor and prevent getting sick before you.
And that's the way they used to police. You had the cop on the beat. There was always somebody walking, and he got to know the neighborhood, and the neighborhood got to know him.
Yeah.
And so it used to be community, and then they put them in squad cars, and that
Right.
changed everything.
He wants to reduce student loans. I like how he wants to do this. Instead of the banks being responsible for the student loans, he wants the colleges to be responsible for the student loans because he thinks that way then the college prices will go down. The cost of college education will go down, which I like that.
But I also like the colleges. Like I don't know, like Harvard has billions of dollars in their endowment fund, and they are real slow to spend that.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of schools could help a lot more students. It could help them with their education because people, again, if you have billions of dollars in the bank and you're not doing anything with it, why, that's not why people gave you that money, I would think. So
California, you can go to junior college for 2 years if you're a resident.
just like you're going to high school, right?
Yeah,
It's the same-
just like you're going to
and
high
they have
school.
talked about that in Iowa even.
Yeah.
It's one of those things they throw out in the legislature, and it's never gone anywhere.
No.
But they have talked about instead of 12th grade, you have 2 years after that to go to a community college of some kind and get that basic education.
Right.
And would be very, there's where your electricians and plumbers and carpenters and those kind of people come from, and which would be beneficial to all of us because there's a shortage of those people
Yes, there
in the
is.
trades. And so, if you spend a little money at the beginning, sometimes it's worth an awful lot later on down the road. And that's so you had to see beyond where you are. And a lot of our politicians don't do that.
He also wants to raise minimum wage to $15. I see out in California here this week.
$20 for fast food people.
Yeah, something like half a million people went to $20.
Yeah.
The argument is, well, that's why AI is such.
But you figure $20 an hour in California would still not buy you a middle-class life. If you had, a child or two, you're like a single parent trying to raise a couple kids, you'd be tough to raise even on $20 an hour in California.
They were talking about this on NPR yesterday. If you make $65,000 in Iowa, you might be able to afford to buy a home. In California, you've got to earn something like $250,000.
Yeah, and $65,000, you're living in your car,
Yeah.
more than likely, yeah.
He also wants to bring home troops from abroad, places like Germany and Japan. The military would push hard against him. This is where he tags himself as being like his John, because the talk was that John F. Kennedy wanted to narrow down the U.S.'s activity outside the country.
Yeah.
He ties himself to his uncle that way.
But every time in history, if we've sliced the military down, people, as a sign of weakness, and then we have to build back up.
Yeah.
And I know that's military history in the United States. That's happened a lot. And also, I don't know how many millions. We have 1 million servicemen overseas, and they come back to the United States, and we don't need them in the armed forces anymore.
Well, and here's the argument, and that's the argument. Is right now there's 8 million open jobs, Dale, in our country.
Okay.
And if you're going to pay them, if you raise minimum wage and you pay them, the problem is though, if people don't want to do a job, they're not going to apply for that job.
Yeah.
So that's the problem.
Yeah.
That's why many of those jobs are fry cooks and waiters and waitresses.
People who work.
Yes.
Yeah. People who work instead of think for a living.
Right.
Yeah.
Here's the big problem for Bobby Kennedy. Is he's an anti-vaxxer. And because of that, he claims that if the children in our country are not healthier at the end of the first 4 years of his term, he won't run again.
And was he going to outlaw vaccinating or?
Well, certain medicines, and there are a lot of anti-vaxxers. I had kids in class that were sick because they had the measles or whatever, and their parents were anti-vaxxers.
But it used to be like you'd have school shut down while the chicken pox went through the school, or even measles. And to me now it's very few. It's getting more because of the anti-vaxxers, but I don't know, I just think vaccinations have been a great thing since Pasteur got started with the cowpox and that sort of thing. It's just saved millions of lives over the years. And,
millions and millions. You're right.
So
it's not going to change. There's enough people that it's not going to change.
Yeah.
He wants to expand the courts for immigration. The immigration courts right now are 1 year out, year and a half out. And so people, it's like, not if you go for a year and a half and don't see a judge or see your lawyer, or,
and you can't work, right? You can't work until you've gone through the process
legally.
Yeah. And so what are you doing? You come with nothing. A lot of these people. And they're supposed to sit a year and a half waiting for a court date, but they can't work. And so I don't understand how that's supposed to work.
So, he wants to expand the immigration court. So he wants to make it bigger. And then once he fixes that, then he will champion building the numbers up for immigrants. He came out against, a few weeks later, not long afterward, he came out pro-choice. He's from a large Catholic family, and I think he felt the need to say that. He's also on the fridge. He calls himself a Democrat that left the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
And same thing with Nicole Shanahan.
Did you see this morning in Florida they are going to have a vote, let the people vote about the length of time for abortions. They have to have a 60%. I thought that was very interesting because Florida is pretty red, and so their Supreme Court was going through a law that their legislature passed, and they approved something, but they said no. it's legal. You need to let the people have a vote on abortion. So I've always thought they ought to let just the women vote, 12 to whatever, and just have the women vote.
Right.
And you'll write the law and just see what the women think. I don't like a bunch of old men telling women they have to have a baby. And I love babies.
There you go.
But it would be interesting to see if the women of America that actually have to have the babies, and I think you can start at age 12 because you see every now and then there's 12-year-old kids that have a baby. I know. We're not supposed to be political.
There you
Bobby
go.
Kennedy did it to me.
Bobby Kennedy.
All right.
So this is Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network. We're coming to you from the Cowork 591 studios. I'm Jim Gillespie with co-host Dale Rueber and producer Blake Tempus. Dale, you have some library news.
Well, yeah, the libraries were going great guns over there.
It is Library Month
In April?
in April.
Okay, I did not know that.
Yep.
So, okay. So everybody should go to the library. It's interesting. My grandson from Johnston was visiting us, so we got him a book out of the public library here, and he wasn't done with it, so we took it back to Johnston with him. And so we're down there, and we're going to bring the book back to Jesup. And we said, well, there's a third book in this series. And he said, well, he would try to find it. And we said, well, go to the library. Johnston has a nice library. Well, he didn't have a library card. I've never been to the library. He just bought books. And so his grandmother and I went after about he should have a library card. So the next day we get a pic. There he is in front of the library with his library card and the third book in the series that he wanted to read. So we felt pretty good about that.
Yeah.
So go to the library. Okay, Little Tot Story Time meets every Thursday at 10:30 for songs, stories, and more. And really a good way to get that library habit started is to start with their little bitty kids and take them to the library. And April Spice is lemon verbena, and we looked that up. It's a very complicated plant. Pick up your sample and recipe verbena to try at the Jesup Public Library. They have a limited supply of past spices on a first-come, first-served basis. So if you want the cinnamon or some of the other things we never heard of, they still have some. They have exercise with friends. You can bring your friends every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday morning at 8 a.m. in the library community room for low-impact video-led workouts. We try to do a new and different video each day lasting 45 to 60 minutes. The workouts are beginner-friendly, can be done seated or standing. And there's quite a few cars there, I noticed, on those mornings. Books and Brews Book Club. You like books? You like beer? Join us for our Books and Brews Book Club. We talk about books and drink beer the second Monday of every month at Allerton Brewing Company in Independent. Our next Books and Brews meeting will be on Monday, April the 8th at 6:30 p.m. We will discuss Honeymoon Cottage by Lori Foster and pick up your copy of the selected book at the Jesup Public Library and meet at Allerton for a lively discussion. The more beer they drink, the livelier the discussion gets, I bet. So, no, I'm sure it's just a nice way. You think about the times you've sat around with a glass of beer and talked about different things, and so it's a nice idea, I think. They have STEM Wednesdays in partnership with the Buchanan County ISU Extension and Outreach. We invite you to join us following early dismissal on Wednesday, April 10 at 1:30 for activities, fun, and snacks on the Dragonland Adventure. Most suitable for grades K through 4. We will read a story, code a route, and take on a challenge using BBots. Registration is required at tinyurl.com/JPL-Dragonland.
Go to the library website and you'll be able to click on it.
That's right. And have you ever used BBots for anything?
No.
Do you know what it is?
No.
I don't either. You ever used BBots?
No.
Okay.
Spell
All right.
that.
BEEBOTS.
I had a lemonade with it. I had a lemonade with B-Bots in it yesterday.
I don't believe you. So,
Okay.
No school story time. Special guest readers and performers from the Jesup High School speech team will join us for an exciting story time on Monday, April 15 at 10:30 in the morning. All ages are invited. And so that would be interesting to hear what those kids, Carter Rout has a thing I've been wanting to see that he says was very funny. He said the judges really loved it, and so I would like to see what he did sometime. The Chapter Chat Book Club. The April book is The Reading List by Sarah Nisha Adams. And that's at the public library. And the club will meet Monday, April 15. So you got a couple weeks to read that. Movie Monday. Join us at 1 o'clock on Monday, April 22nd for The Boys in the Boat. And I've heard that's a good movie. Have you heard about it?
No.
It's a 1930s set story centered on the University of Wisconsin's rowing team from their Depression-era beginnings to winning gold at the 1936 Berlin Olympics. Admission and popcorn is always free, It's rated PG-13 and runs 2 hours and 4 minutes. But I've heard that's a very good movie. I think my daughter support the Jesup Public Library. They have the Velvet Coffee Company Bookworm Blend Coffee. It's available in whole bean or ground in 1.5 ounce or 12 ounce bags. You can order a JPL 30 ounce Polar Camel water bottle with the QR code at the front desk. Vinyl JPL stickers are now for sale in 2 styles for only $2 each. Bookmarks with the JPL logo are made locally at Socrates, Socraftse.
Okay.
Do you know where that is? It's
No.
in Jesup, I guess.
Is that the place down there in the corner across from Casey's, I believe?
Must be, yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
we have to look into that. They're available for $3.50, and all of these support the Friends of the Jesup Public Library. You have a birthday or gathering coming up. They have fun and unique shaped cake pans from the Jesup Public Library. They also have a large assortment of cookie cutters to choose from hearts to tractors to book characters. There's something for it. And lastly, we talked about this many times, the 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten and 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten program at the Jesup Public Library is designed to be simple and encourage making reading a daily habit. And sign up at the library to receive a log to record your child's first 100 books, or use the 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten app available in your app store or on iTunes. If you want your kid to do well in school, make them read, right? Or let them read, have them read, get them to love reading. And
Dale, how many minutes a day do you think you read?
I don't know. Some days I fall asleep.
Right.
It's terrible. But no, I read the Des Moines Register every day,
Right.
and I read the Waterloo Courier 3 days a week. And I have a novel I have a book going now. It's called Code Girls. It's about all the young girls, college students, thousands of them that they brought into Washington, D.C. area to learn how to break the Japanese and German codes and read all this stuff. It's a very interesting book. They built this big campus for them, and the locals call it 28 Acres of Girls, because it was just all these young girls out there. So it's very interesting. So that's what I'm reading now. And so I probably read 2 to 3 hours a day. I've always I don't ever remember not knowing how to read. It's just been something I've done all my whole life. So helps you pass those IQ tests and those. If you have a lot of that is vocabulary,
Right.
And so the more you read, the bigger your vocabulary, the better you do on those tests, and then you'll get a wonderful job. Podcasts. So.
That's right. That's right. Well, this is Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network. And we're coming to you from Cowork 591 Studios in downtown Jesup, Iowa. Dale, I saw this neat story, just a quick story, about a dog called Boji, B-O-J-I.
Okay, I've not heard about that.
Boji is from New York. He looks to me like he's a mixture of a yellow lab and a ton of other things. Boji's probably about 75, 80 pounds. He's a big dog.
Okay.
I'm sure he eats a lot of scraps, is what it looks like to me. Boji every day walk to the subway and make 29 different transfers on the subway. Then he will get off at the 29th stop on the subway, get on a bus. If the bus is leaving, he'll hurry to it. He'll run to it. The bus drivers learn to wait for him now. And then after he gets to a certain spot on the bus, he'll get off the bus and ride a ferry to a park. And they never understood why every day that Boji would do this. He would do it every day.
And then go back again.
And then go back. Incredible.
I would say.
Yeah. And so one day, one of the city guys decided to follow Boji. And they followed him through all the transfers and ferry and the bus ride. And he went to a park and played in the park, and then went backwards and went back where he was from. And the guy followed him where he was from. And the people there told him that his owner had died. And the owner had taken him every Saturday and Sunday that he had Boji to that park. And they would take that route. People just got to get out of the way for Boji and let him ride the subways and let him ride the ferry, and days when there's no room in the seats, he'll lay on the floor, and when there's room on the seats, he'll sit on the seats, and it's quite interesting.
Yes, it is.
There's videos out there.
Okay, I keep waiting for the punchline, but
No,
this is a true story.
Yeah,
Okay.
Boji the dog.
All right. It's in New York City.
It's in New York City. Yeah.
And where did you find that story?
I found that I don't know if it was in one of my social media feeds.
Okay.
But they had the video that followed him and showed it and everything.
Okay.
So it's a true story.
So who is he living with now?
It
doesn't matter, I suppose, but someone that lets him go like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's fantastic because I'm sure I couldn't make 29 transfers
No.
on the subway. Every time I've been on the subway, I have to have somebody with me to tell me, okay, we get off here. Okay, thank you. So I lost the first 5 minutes. Well, that's amazing.
That is
how
amazing.
how could a dog do that, though?
It is, training. I mean,
Was a lot of repetition. Done
yeah.
over the years, and so I think that's a fascinating story.
That is.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Thank you.
I'm sorry I didn't believe you.
That's all right. That's all right.
I always feel bad when you say.
So Dale, I wanted to ask you. So we've got Blake over here with charisma. I want to know. I'm going to give you some names, and you have to tell me whether or not you think these people have charisma.
Okay.
Joe Biden.
I don't think, no, I would say no.
Okay. I would argue Joe Biden has charisma.
Okay.
I would argue that he does. 70-some million people voted for him.
Well,
3 years
competency
ago?
is not the same as charisma. If people thought he was competent to be president.
Define charisma. Define charisma.
Yeah, charisma is that thing where people like you because of the way you are. Would you say?
So this is from Google.
Okay. They said he had charisma.
No.
Okay.
They didn't say Biden did.
Okay.
Compelling attractiveness or charm inspires devotion from others.
Yeah.
People are devoted to Joe Biden.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I don't know that they are.
okay. All right. Divine power or talent is the second definition, and he has divine power. Arguably the most powerful man in the world.
I'm sure, yes. It's given to him by the people.
So people are devoted to him.
There were two people, and he was the least objectionable.
Let's go on. John Kennedy Sr. John Kennedy, the president.
Yeah, he had charisma because I remember when he was running for office, it'd be 1960, and I think I was in 6th grade maybe, but we had your Nixon people and your Kennedy people, and the Kennedy people just loved him. I mean, they just were enamored of him, and he grew on you so bad because he was good-looking and witty and funny, and he had a beautiful wife and little kids, and was just all American. He was rich, seemed to worry about money and all and this sort of thing, and so people were drawn to him. And you think of how loyal the people that worked for him were. He was not always on the up and up, but you never heard about it. I mean, people stuck with him. So, yeah. So I would say he had a lot of charisma.
Michael Jordan.
I don't know that he has a lot of charisma. I mean, people are drawn to him because of his talent.
Divine power or talent.
Yeah.
That's the second definition.
Yeah. And so with that definition, you would say, he had the talent. And so you probably have to say he had charisma. I'm not sure that on his own he drew people to him, But,
right.
Okay, yeah, because he had a super talent. He was judged to be the best of his generation and maybe of all generations at what he did, and so you'd have to give him that.
Okay, what about Caitlin Clark?
Caitlin Clark, I think, has charisma. She has a genuine, exceptional talent, and people are drawn to her. They're showing up by the thousands to see her perform, and she's being paid a lot of money to do commercials because corporations, big corporations, think that her opinion matters to people, that they will be drawn to their product because she is there on their commercial. And so I would say, yeah, she has charisma.
And that would be my argument for Jordan too.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Jordan would be like Mike.
There you
and
go.
Was it be like being a really good guy or be like Mike playing basketball? I have nothing against Michael Jordan. I'm just saying I never saw him draw the multitudes to him in any way except by playing basketball. course, Caitlin Clark is probably doing the same thing.
Yeah.
She's drawing millions of people to her because of the way she plays basketball. The thing with Caitlin Clark is that, as far as I know, she has never made, she's never been out at 2 o'clock in the morning in a bar and got in a fight, or, been drunk driving and picked up by the police, or she's never had any of those kind of problems that bring people down. And so I think that really helps. Where am I at here? With
It's all right.
I'm all tied up here.
So you
but,
say Caitlin Clark is charismatic?
I think she has a lot of charisma, and it could be just me that Michael Jordan, because I know a lot of, kids all over the world, they wore his shoes and had his name on their shirts and this sort of thing, and so they really loved him, and so
all right,
I'm probably wrong there.
Perhaps the most charismatic person ever in our country, Muhammad Ali. Would you say he had charisma?
Yeah, I would.
Because he was well spoken.
Well, yeah, he was well spoken, and he was not afraid. He spoke his mind. He didn't say, okay, is this politically correct, or am I going to get in trouble for this? If he believed it, he said it, and he said some outrageous things just to get the bubble stirred up, to get more people to come to his fights and this sort of thing, to be interested. He called people names. He was married several times.
Yep.
There's at least 2 or 3 women didn't think he was very charismatic after a while.
Right.
But I think the world looked to him probably because he was a black man in a time when a lot of black people weren't given a lot of recognition for the things they did, and he demanded respect, and he took no prisoners, said what he thought, and he didn't try to fit in with the crowd or anything. And so I think that's what drew people to him, because a lot of people would like to be like that.
What about Donald Trump?
Okay, well, he's got something that you'd have to call charisma, because people are drawn to him. And a couple of these others we've mentioned, he can do a lot of things badly or wrong, or be mean-spirited, or out and out lie, or refuse to admit things that are very obvious. And yet millions of people are drawn to him. He pushed this, talk about it just today, he pushed this stock, and there's a media or like a Google or Facebook kind of stock that he was promoting, put his name on it, and it was selling far into, because it lost like $68 million last year, and so the price went way down. But a lot of people who bought it, they had them on the news that said, no, I'm not going to sell it. I'm going to keep it forever. They were not upset that it had cost them money. And he has cost a lot of people money. I mean, he's been bankrupt many times in different deals and cost a lot of people a lot of money, but it doesn't seem to affect it. So there's something about him that, I don't want to say a certain kind of people, but lots of people in this country are really drawn to him no matter what he does. And so you have to say he has charisma.
Okay, well, here's a list of things that you must have to be charismatic.
Okay.
You must be a good listener. What?
Yeah.
You
must be a good listener. Okay, that's probably true.
You must be confident. Trump's confident. You go through that list. Joe Biden,
He's not a good listener, though, I don't think.
No.
But, okay.
Joe Biden, John Kennedy, Michael Jordan, Caitlin Clark, Muhammad Ali, Donald Trump. Smile. Okay. Although Biden tries, he doesn't. It's hard for an older person.
Yeah, and he's tight.
Yeah.
But a lot of that is from, I think they say it's arthritis in his back, and so he's not able to be loose,
Right.
Can't. And so if you don't walk with a confident kind of bounce in your step, that makes it hard for people to see you as a confident person. So.
I noticed this in their NCAA run. Caitlin Clark's teeth were extremely white. I mean, I'm sure that her, and not only her, a couple of the other players as well had real bright teeth, like they had. Their teeth.
Yeah. Well, if you don't drink coffee or cola, or there's things you can do so your teeth don't get stained.
Right.
And you just kind of, as you may have been in my mind, I like to coffee more than white teeth, and so
Yeah.
the teeth that I have. But I'm sure that they probably did, because some of those girls, you see, they have like full makeup, false eyelashes, and you see Angel Reese, you put that contact in on the floor without a mirror or anything. I thought, how do you do that? Because she just put it right in, and so.
Okay.
Go ahead, I'm done.
That's all right. A smile attracts people, has influence, and is interesting. And almost all those are interesting people.
Yeah, everyone you mentioned has all
Yeah.
those qualities. So,
So they're charismatic. Almost all those with charisma. Wow. This is Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network. I'm Jim Gillespie with co-host Dale Rueber and producer Blake Tempus. Dale, any news on Farmers Day?
I know I was gone last week, so I missed the meeting, and
Okay.
so I haven't been caught up. But it's the last I heard, we're going to do it's a variation of the Jesup Old Town or Old Town Jesup, and we're going to have those the storefronts that were painted for the pageants in '85 and 2010 are going to be up. And
Where are they going to put those?
I think in the park here along the fence, maybe in front of one of the buildings that's still there. All that's to be determined.
Okay.
And and we're going to have some Civil War people. We're going to have the cowboy shootout. We have, of course, a carnival and everything, and the hopefully the big parade. And it's coming. Mm-hmm. We're talking about it, so it's going to happen.
So that's the
and
20th through the 22nd.
Yeah, of June, and a lot of bands and good entertainment. The Bill Riley Talent Show, the State Fair, Talent Show, and I don't know if the Scouts are going to have. I find each year it gets a little bigger. The Scouts have this eating contest, like speed eating or whatever, and each year it gets a little more interesting, I think. And so I see a kid I had, James Acosta. Do you know him?
Yeah.
The Dairy Cone has a new eating challenge. They have a 4-pound challenge. It's a pound hamburger, pound of French fries, and a 2-pound shake. You got 6 minutes.
6 minutes.
6 minutes to eat that. And they had 3 people. They have their little video screen. There are 3 people that have done it. One guy did it with 3 seconds left to go. But Acosta did like 3 minutes and something. Unbelievable.
Wow.
And he has won the eating contest down here before. He's not that big.
No, he's not.
But he can just put it away. So he's very good at that. So but anyway, I don't know if they'll have that again or not. I think the Scout leadership has changed in some way or another, I've heard. And so if they'll do the same things or they have different things, I don't know. Anyway, so I hope people will come. June 20, 21, 22 be real different. And so
the Steve Brown Arts Center is sponsoring music on that Saturday afternoon. 3 groups, or the 3 people that we are sponsoring, is Chet Reagan. Will be playing at the band Gazebo, and then Greg Dietrich, who was our guest a few weeks ago here, will play.
And he's playing on April the 6th.
And he's playing
at that eating thing. That's this coming weekend, right?
Yeah.
So, probably too late. I think it's April the 6th.
Yeah, so we would have missed that. This comes out Monday.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
just yesterday.
Yeah.
That's all right. And then the third one playing the Elkhorns are the Langs. And they are playing Saturday afternoon as well. So that's our donation to the Farmers Day for the year. And then we'll also have a raffle and giant Jenga.
Giant Jenga. Okay.
Giant Jenga. Wear your hard helmets down.
Yeah, I would say like 2x4s or that size. Okay.
I haven't purchased it yet.
Yeah.
Like they were talking about eating the large hamburger and fries. Have you ever eaten the 1-pound burger up at Gundry, Blake?
I didn't eat the 1-pound burger, but I have been out there.
Okay. Have you been to
I
Gundry, Dale?
had the smaller one, but my kids were all there when they were in high school. They used to go up every now and then, a group of them, and they have all eaten the bigger one.
Yeah,
But
they've done.
I looked at it and I thought, I'm not ready for that. So
They have very good poor man's lobster too up there.
Okay.
It's cod, obviously.
yeah.
Yeah. They have a flame with melted butter over top the cod. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
So
People are very creative, aren't they? And
They
there's
are.
all kinds of stuff going on.
it's Farmers Day, the 20th through the 22nd of June. Then of course we have Littleton Free Watermelon Day, July 27th. Our acts there include the McBrides, the Bad Habits Band, and it just the third group. Oh, it's Belvins and Powers.
Yeah.
Is the third group, and they'll play from about 12:30 until 8 that night. And then we have Board's Food Truck, we have rolled ice cream, and we have children's games. And then Mickey D's Pizza and lobster will also be out there.
See, I'm interested in seeing that. The lobster, was it lobster roll, he calls it?
I think so.
Yeah. Which I'm assuming is a kind of a sandwich with lobster in it? Or?
Right.
Okay.
I think so.
You ever eat lobster?
Not regular lobster. I've had it in sandwiches and stuff.
Okay,
but
yeah.
not regular lobster.
We were in Maine, Deb and I and Heather, and we were at you gotta have Maine lobster. They took it right out of the tank. I mean,
Right.
it was fresh, and it's. I mean, I could live without it. It was an interesting experience, but it wasn't the best. But we were at the national park there, and they had a lobster salad, like a chicken salad, but like a lobster salad sandwich, which I thought was delicious.
Right.
And so it was very, very good. And they talked about lobster that back in the day in the prisoners rioted because they were feeding them lobster every day because it was so cheap. So the state was feeding them lobster almost every day, and the prisoners rioted because all they were getting to eat was lobster. And I thought, well, it just shows you too much of a good thing is not a good thing.
Dale, do you like mussels?
I don't think I've ever eaten mussels.
Mussels are much better than they look. They're very tasty.
There's a lot of us that way.
Yeah. Everything's better with a lot of butter and garlic on it.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
Yeah. So that is Littleton Free Watermelon Day. This year we're gonna have free mule rides. Mr. Kittner is going to bring out his wagon and his mules and give rides. We're gonna have kid games. Water balloon contest. Might even let you throw a water balloon at me once or twice out there in that hour. So come on out. I know that it will be a wonderful day. So
sounds like a lot of fun. A lot going on. And do you know what time of day you're going to do the watermelon feed, or is it going to be all day, or just at a certain time?
We're going to try to do it twice this year. Try to do it like at 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock, and like 4 o'clock or 1 till 2, and then 4 to 5,
okay,
like that.
I think that'd be a good idea myself.
Yeah. So make sure you get out for a free watermelon. Before we finish today, I wanted to talk about the famed Rasputin. The last Tsar of Russia was Nicholas II, and his wife's name was Alexandra, and they had 5 daughters. And then they had a son, Alexei. And Alexei was the heir apparent to the throne. And Alexei was a hemophiliac. And he had a guard. Job was to prevent him from getting hurt. And Alexei, loved wearing uniforms, would wear a sailor's outfit. And so they had a Russian sailor, whose job was, they were on a ship one day, and Alexei jumped off the main ship and jumped into a life and got hurt. Hemophiliacs he started having internal bleeding real bad, and they couldn't stop the bleeding. Now they have pretty good control for hemophilia. Yeah. Then it was a battle, and for 2 weeks he bled. Tsarina, wife Alexandra, heard of a priest out in Siberia. His name was Rasputin, and this child was dying. And there was no way, it was 1912, 1913 right in there. There was no way that Rasputin could get there in time. She sent him a telegram and said, I need your help. And everybody talks about how they thought that Rasputin probably hypnotized young Alexei when he was bleeding that time and he was near death. Rasputin never came, but he promised the Tsarina Alexandra that he would pray for Alexei. Alexei got better. The Tsar brought Rasputin to Moscow, and that's how Rasputin became as popular as he was. But everybody thinks the first time that he saved the young boy that he was there, but he wasn't. He was hundreds of miles away. So you've got almost question: was it religion? What was it? I've always enjoyed reading the story of Rasputin. He was a unique human.
Now, did he die with the Tsar and all this?
He died. The Tsar's advisors hated Rasputin because
Oh, I'm sure he had a lot of influence.
because he could save the son.
Yeah.
And so one night, he was invited to a meal at the castle, and they poisoned him, and he didn't die.
Okay, I remember that now.
Yeah. And then they stabbed him, and he didn't die. Then they shot him, and he didn't die. And so they threw him into the Volga River. When they found him, he hadn't drowned. I mean, he had died from something else, but it was he was quiet. He was a unique story. A lot of movies done about Rasputin.
Yeah. They persisted though, didn't they? The assassins did not give up.
They weren't going to give up.
They wanted him out of there bad. So
one other announcement before we close for tonight. We are showing this weekend the artwork of Karma Dahl Schmidt out at the Littleton Chatham Historical Society, Littleton, at the breakfast.
that's April 14th, right?
Yep.
That is next week. Yeah.
That will be this coming Sunday. That's a free will donation. But
Do you have
make
a
sure
time on that yet?
that is from 8 until 11 is when breakfast is served.
Okay.
Come on out. We'll probably be set up by 8 o'clock to see the art. It's a wonderful meal, all you can eat.
Yeah.
Some years they have biscuits and gravy too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they feed you well.
Yeah. That was it, all you can eat, but with a pancake breakfast. How many pancakes? What's the most pancakes you ever ate at one time?
You know, Mom used to make giant pancakes.
That's what my mother did too.
Yeah.
As big as the pan, yeah.
Yeah, and so I could eat. The most I ever ate was 3, I think.
Yeah.
Now when I make pancakes, I make the small ones. I
Yeah.
can eat 5 or 6 of
Yeah.
those.
First time I saw those small pancakes, I thought, what is this?
Yeah.
What a jip.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Don't forget, we are sponsored as always by Reyes Concrete, the Littleton Lounge LLC. Those are the two main sponsors for the Bad Habits Band. The Littleton Chatham Historical Society. Laces is sponsoring the McBrides this year from Independence. Joe and Judy Olson, the Independence Bulletin Journal. Derek's Repair LLC and Keith Bickert bought the watermelons for us last year, and he's been kind to us this year and donated money to us this year. Jacobson's Fabrication and Repair LLC. Donnie's done so much. Even events and rentals, they are letting us use their tents again. Thomas James is donating a dumpster out at Littleton Watermelon Day. Boyd's Food Truck. Mickey D's Pizza and Lobster, Dream Chaser Acres, Bobby Leach and Farm Bureau Financial Services, M&M Bakery in Lawrence, Kansas, and they are sponsoring a new person that is taking pictures for us, sponsoring the camera. Innovative Wealth Management, Zach Knudsen. As always, Cowork 591 Studios, whose equipment we use and studio we use every week to do our podcast. Dale, do you have anything that we're leaving out?
No. I would just invite people. Is the metal container out by metal object I need to get rid of? I always take them out there because I know it goes to that cause. And there's a trailer down by the Dairy Queen in Jesup. I think it's the Lions Club collecting pop cans.
Okay.
If you want to get rid of those, and they use it, I'm sure, for lots of different things around town. So look for ways to help. That's all I have. Thank you, Jim, for letting me come again.
Thank you very much. The Steve Brown Art Center is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that has a vision for artists, young and old, alike, to have the opportunity to better themselves while helping to build the skills of those around them. The long-range vision is to house a rural artist residency program for professional and emerging artists in all areas of the arts and the humanities. Artists will be offered accommodations and studio space in exchange for a contribution of labor and maintenance of the buildings and grounds. And tonight, if you'd like to donate to the Steve Brown Arts Center or have an idea for an event, go to the SteveBrownArtsCenter.org and follow the link. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, and we also have a website. Email me at jim@stevebrownartcenter.org with ideas or call 319-290-0241 and leave a message. I'm Jim Gillespie with Dale Rueber. Thanks to our producer, as always, Blake Tempus, and thanks to all our listeners. And thanks to Kelly C. Haas at Cowork 591. Thanks to the audience for bringing these stray dogs into your day. And remember, and this is more important almost every day now, each day is about little victories.